Welcome to Hartley Vale. Hey, it's a massive clash here. It's the host South Africa versus the Netherlands. It's the over 50 division. It's a top of the table clash. Argentina do lead the table by 1 point, but they've played one game more than both these teams. And both South Africa and the Netherlands know that if whoever wins this, they'll be favorites to top the table when the playoff stages come around. I've got Bob from the USA. She's alongside me, and she will join me with her special insights for this game. Bob, what do you expect here from the South Africans? They've got the crowd behind them. But they also have the pressure of expectation to come up against this very strong Netherlands outfit.
Yeah, they do. And, going into this, both teams are at 3-0. And in scoring differentials, the Netherlands clearly lead, but they've also played, a weaker team. And when you look at the teams they've played in common, Argentina and Namibia, Spirit of Masters, the Dutch have still put more goals in the goal. So it does look like the Dutch are slightly favored here, but it's going to be a great game.
I do think, Bob, that the South African defense was marshaled by Nick Wards there on the right-hand side. They've got a tough task ahead of them. It's this Netherlands side have racked up 22 goals against the Alliance, 14 against Namibia, 8 against Argentina. I mean, it's definitely a case of the Dutch strikers up against the South African defense.
I agree totally. And the Netherlands, of course, have gotten their stride. They probably live near each other, have played all the time. And the Dutch are superb players in general. So this is it's going to be quite a battle out there.
I mean, if you look at the Dutch side, they've got the number 8, Anton Maas, the captain. He's got 17 goals for the tournament already.
I know, it's extraordinary. It's like we're not talking about field hockey. We're talking about some other high-scoring sport.
It's like NBA, yeah.
Exactly.
And as the Dutch, they start off with an attack. And this is going to be a really competitive outfit. It's Peter Cohen. He's on the ball for South Africa. He sends it out to Wides, the former Touchline CEO, publishing, the world of publishing, but it's the hockey field that he has to dominate now. South Africa coming to the attack, and brings the goalkeeper, Eric Scheibring, into the action early on. I'm sure the Dutch keepers haven't had much action this way, so will be interesting for them as well. They'll want to feel the ball on the pads early on. It's Wides. He's collects it again, sends it upfield via Gregory Knott. The Dutch, though, Bob, they're famed for the wonderful attacking play they do. They're also clinical at short corners. Is that what we can expect again?
I think so. I think so. They are well rehearsed. They start from kidhood on and have been playing. This team has probably played together a while, and they know each other. They know where they're going to hit it. They know where they're going to pass, and I think their corner is going to be very well executed and thought out.
You know what? The astounding thing for me is whether you're watching the Dutch under 45s up to the over 70s and even the under 18s in the youth side, they play exactly the same way.
They do. And I've had the pleasure of playing at different times with different Dutch teams, and it is always a pleasure because they know exactly where to pass. They hold the ball until you're free, and they're just a delight. They know the game.
It seems the South Africans, though, are they aware of this Dutch threat? They're dropping back very quickly, getting players behind the ball because they know once the Dutch do find space, they can be lethal.
They do, and I think you're going to see tough D on both sides because they know you can't let any of these attack players on either team be free for a second.
Once again, it's Dover Veenstra. He plays it, looks for his teammate Alexander Kitt, but it's broken up by the South Africans. And it's down the wing by Peter Lange. You expect this to be physical, Bob?
I think when you've got high-intensity players that are highly skilled, both going for the same ball, it's very likely. I think it can't help but be physical.
I think they are both, just the early exchanges here. Both teams just trying to feel each other out. But as it gets warmed up, it will get interesting. And there's a good ball. Just lovely deflections here by the Dutch. Looking for the circle entry. And it's good defense. The crowd's filled up here. Suddenly it's a lot more in the stands. We look across to the Castle Light area. Nobody's at the bar. They're all at on the edge of their seats.
That is so true. Everybody got their refreshments after the last game, and they're ready and waiting for some exciting action, which we're already seeing.
No liquid fuel needed to warm up here.
No, that is true.
South Africa playing it across the field to Knott. Throws the overhead and will find the teammate on the edge of the circle, and the shot comes in.
Oh my
immediately.
Goodness. Whew. Well, see, there's another rule change that we've seen in recent years where you can attacking player can hit the ball out of the air towards the goal cage, and that's what happened there, but wasn't successful, missed the cage.
I thought that was a really enterprising by South Africa. They're looking for the overhead and getting it, and just posing different questions to the Dutch early on.
I think so. Letting them know they can attack from all angles, high and low. Let's take no prisoners.
South Africa showing they're not going to sit back and let the Dutch come to them. They're going to go forward as well.
And you can hear the crowd is already very much into this match.
I think it's very much the green and yellow that's the dominant factors in the stands here.
That's right. The home court advantage.
But we didn't play the anthems before the game. I'm sure that would have got everybody just rousing a little bit more.
That would have been fabulous.
We'll keep that for Sunday or Monday when the playoffs come around. Dutch throw it overhead. Picked up by Stephen Goosen. And it's a free hit, wins the free hit. Frenetic start to this game.
Already. I mean, it's just already very intense. Everybody going 110%.
Cleared by Balthazar Noak, who finds Casper Hingst. Played up to Paul Mess. That's a good pickup by Dover Veenstra. There's the start for the Dutch. It's a good save by Mark Lane. Every goalkeeper wants an early touch, and Lane shows easier to keep South Africa's goal safe. Picked up by Nook. South Africa, they have the ball again through Rolf Meukens. It's the Netherlands on the ball. They looking to start an attack from inside their own half. It's is a circle entry, but it brushes away. Just a moment to catch a breather for the South Africans as they look towards the left and they go all the way back to Grant Clark. South Africa just being patient here in their build-up, and while it's trying to deflect it to the right winger, goes back. South Africa pressurizing quite high, using the press. Do we see that a lot from teams these days, just pushing up?
Yeah, I think of the more competitive teams, you're saying they're fitter and they're doing a higher press. They're not just waiting until the 50, as you saw in our last game. Alliance did that and waited back, waited patiently.
I think it's a good tactic when it works, because you really put the opposition under pressure. But you do leave a few spaces behind if the opposition can get there, and that's what the Dutch will look to. Just get behind South Africa behind that press.
Well, that's it. And I think they'll look for any mistake they will rapidly capitalize on. So, and that's what this game is. Lots of passing, lots of going, and just waiting for a mistake like that one. The goalie was there ready.
And that's we just see the Dutch, they utilizing their press as well. They pressurizing the South Africans, hoping that there's just a little error that they can capitalize on.
It also forces you, you do the pass that you don't want to do. You get it wide, you just get rid of it so you don't get caught in possession, particularly when they're in the center of their field.
Ball's played to Clark, and that's exactly what we're talking about. When the little errors do come in, and then that's when the Dutch look to
and they take
dominance.
Yeah, they do, and they take their hits quickly. And there, for instance, they weren't waiting for the South Africans to set up. They take advantage that they don't wait for the free hit; they just take it and go. And that's going to be the difference in this game. And we'll see over time which one's also the fittest.
I do think the Dutch also they play the long game. They know that once it comes to short corner time, that's when they really are lethal.
And particularly the Dutch tend to be taller than most teams, and you can see that on the field today. They have some very tall gentlemen.
I've always found that quite interesting how imposing they are. Generally, in South Africa, the bigger guys play rugby. That's what happens.
Yes.
And the smaller guys get sent to the hockey pitch.
Yeah, well, in Holland, it's the Netherlands. That's one of the only countries that I know of that has hockey clubs everywhere, and both genders play. And you start as a kid, and you play until you're elderly, and basically bedridden. It's extraordinary.
It really is ingrained in the fabric, in the DNA of the Dutch.
It is.
You're born with a stick, basically.
Yes.
The South Africans just looking to make a substitute. Number 13 now, Anthony Winston coming on. He replaces Bint Andrew Bint. Apologies, Greg Dillon. Greg Dillon has come off. It's good skill work by South Africa. There's a bit of space on the left-hand side. It's out to Craig Garrett. As the South Africans look to make the circle entry. Cristino Riego. He's on the ball for South Africa. Plays in. And a desperate lunge by the Dutch. Just avoiding it. And this is when the Orange Army, and they are launching an attack of their own here. But it's picked up by the South Africans. Just look at all those green shirts.
I know. 8 of them got back below the 25. They were all in position.
I think that's really good homework done before the game. That's the analysis. That's knowing that when the Dutch do break free, you got to get numbers behind it because they move the transition from defense to attack so quickly.
Yeah, you are right, because there were only 6 Dutch up at that time, so they were really outnumbered. So, and the marking, the spacing was excellent by the South Africans.
Frank Eilans on the ball, gives it to Rolf Meerkens. He's a prolific goal scorer as well. He's got 9 already in the tournament. But here's an opportunity for South Africa.
Wow.
But Mark Lane, the South African keeper, once again up to the task. Once again, the Dutch are showing how quickly they move from defense to attack. Picked up by the Dutch. Meerkens on the ball. Tries to get into the short corner. And required a tackle there to get them out of trouble. Been impressed by the way the Dutch have moved around this well?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. They're just moving it so well, but the South Africans are putting up a fierce defense. And I think at the moment the entire South African team is below the 25. That is hard to penetrate.
Duova Veenstra with a free hit. Throws it overhead quite spectacularly towards the left. Here's an opportunity for the Dutch. They're forced wide, though. And that is a fantastic defense for South Africa. And they could launch an attack of their own here. And intercepted, though, by the Dutch before Rihego could pick it up.
Yeah, out of the air, no less.
And the Dutch just quite calm and collected in the way they go about their business. And
that is the hallmark of the Dutch, isn't it? Always poised.
Just brilliant defending here by Greg Anderson. Because if had the Dutch been able to turn him there, it was an open shot and goal. The South Africans will just look to compose themselves again. They've been under a bit of the pressure the last few moments, and there's just 90 seconds remaining in this first chuck. It's flown by.
It has flown by. My goodness.
There you go. Strong work there by South Africa. It's Wides who throws the overhead. Looked like a bit of a, as in cricket, we'd call it a cover drive, a lofted cover drive. I do know that Nick's not a bad cricketer in his heyday as well. But it's the Dutch back in possession, and they'll come again as they will all afternoon. Just feeling the sticks on the ball there is Duva Vienstra and Martin Groeneveld. That's a beautiful ball into the space there, and unfortunately not collected by Bas Vassenberg. But the Dutch showing they have different options in attack.
They do. They're lifting the ball. They're doing their usual precision passing, but they are being very creative out there.
That's fortunate for Anthony Winson. He could have been a spot of bother had he lost it out there. It was in the center of the park. And that is the hooter that has seen the first quarter just fly by. Still goalless, and we'll see you back in a bit. Played in the 96 Olympics, I think. So it's the same school that I went to. And we're back here at Hartley Vale. It's proving to be an epic clash here between the Netherlands and South Africa in the over 50 section. We don't have any goals yet, but there hasn't been any lack of action. Bob, I think both teams are giving everybody their money's worth that's come to the stadium today.
They are, and I'll tell you, both goalkeepers have each had a chance to show their stuff, and it's been pretty impressive.
Ball got played upfield by the Dutch. It's picked up. But once again, a good defending by South Africa. You're going to need all that experience gained over the years in such a high-pressure encounter, because the team that does eventually emerge victorious in this game, they're going to be in pole position for the top spot.
They are, but it looks, the way it's looking right now, win or lose, both teams are going to be in the crossovers. But we'll see. A little early to call on that.
Slow start thus far to the second chukker. The Netherlands deep in their own half. And South Africa reclaiming possession there. It's in the midfield. Anthony Winston, and that's the keeper called on to make a save. That's a big shot though. Clash of sticks. And the Dutch defense holding firm. South Africa on attack here, pushing for the circle entry. But the Dutch, they do manage to clear their lines, and it's back with the South Africans. That's good work by Greg Anderson in the heart of the South African midfield. And that is a short corner all the way out on the edge of the 23. But the umpire deems the tackle to be dangerous. And South Africa have opportunity, Bob.
They sure will. This will be really interesting to see who's going to take this and what they're going to do.
South Africans getting together there. They're the think tank. I've always wondered what exactly gets said in there, because sure they've been planning this and practicing it for days.
Exactly. You sure saying, okay, so-and-so's taking it, and the rest will back up and be ready.
Push comes out and stop. The shot comes in. It's off the pads. South Africa have another opportunity. But the Dutch do clear their lines, and that was a really close call.
And it's interesting on that corner, they had 2 stick stoppers to really try to fake out the defense so they wouldn't know who it was going out to. Just can get you that half a second advantage.
Both teams just getting the feel of them. But yeah, the Dutch do have an opportunity on the top of the D. The shot comes in, and that is the opening goal for the Dutch. Very much against the run of play. It's just a long ball thrown over, and it was picked up. He might have hurt himself in the process, but he gave Mark Lane absolutely no chance. Seems like he's going to need to be replaced. They just fell on the hip after the shot. But the Dutch have silenced the South African crowd here. On one end, South Africa were deep on attack in the short corner. And just a long ball over the top. And the goal has come. And the goal scorer is, for the Dutch, is Martin Dendam. And it's the Netherlands who have another opportunity to extend their lead here. That's the second chance. And it goes just well. So Dendam, he's suddenly, Martin Dendam, given the Dutch that extra little push they needed. And all to do for South Africa now. Oh, we thought South Africa, they were in attack, and then suddenly the Dutch.
I know. It was the transition. They just got the ball deep and high, beating all the defense South Africans back, and that's how they did it. It was then a 2-on-1. The goalie really didn't have a chance.
Like a lead balloon
gorgeous.
at Hartley Vale that just popped.
I know. Oh.
I'm sure there's lots of time left. There's still 10 minutes in this second chucker remaining, and the South Africans will keep running. They'll keep working. Conference will be a bit dented with a goal very much against the run of play. And it looks like their task might even get a little bit tougher here with
Green card.
With another one sent to the sin bin. As the Dutch immediately exploit the place of the man sent to the bin. As Holland, as they always do, they remain calm, they composed, and they'll play the ball around the back like it's a Sunday afternoon stroll.
It's true.
And that's an
That could be
incisive pass. It's a chance for the Dutch here. The goalkeeper's out of action, but he manages to make the save. But it's still a short corner. For a moment there, I thought Lane was going to be caught out of position, but he still managed to get the big yellow boot on it.
He did. He did.
And the umpire said it's he's overturned his decision. It's not a short corner. He's gone with the 16, and the Dutch, they're not happy. This is what happens in these tense games. The emotions do get flared up. Doesn't matter whether you're under 18 or over 50.
No, it's true. And the umpire came right out to them to calm things down and give exactly what he thought should happen next.
I think the South Africans just need to compose themselves. They need to forget about their goal and just go back to their processes, because the Dutch, they've got lots of pace and plenty of pace down the left wing and is pushing for the circle entry. And it just seems like the South Africans are a little bit rattled at the moment.
It does. It seems a little bit disarray. I mean, I think after they got beat, and after having seen the entire team back on D, they're a little bit ragged at the moment. But I have a feeling they're going to quickly regroup.
They do make a substitution. The shot comes in, and Lane makes the save for South Africa.
Fantastic save. This is a big goalkeeper who seems as quick and agile as he is tall.
In a enticing contest, yeah, it's just 6 minutes remaining in the second chukka. But it seems like we've played a 3 halves. And as the deflection comes in, and once again, that is a fantastic save by Lane. He's earning his money here for South Africa today.
He is, because the Dutch are coming in from all angles, all directions, trying all different shots, and that was an amazing deflection up. Could have gone high in the corner, but didn't. Mark was in the right position.
Speaking as a goalkeeper, I do know that the deflections are always the toughest to get a mitt on. You're not expecting it, and suddenly it's flying your way.
Yeah.
Dutch look to restart from the back. Comes out to Ton van Hexen. He beats the first tackler, but wins the free hit of the second. That are just slowing it down for the Dutch, trying to find a way through the right-hand side. South Africa's defense just a little bit disorganized after that first goal, and a couple of players being sent to the bin.
Yeah, it's surprising, but I think also the Dutch are really overloading, and they are moving side to side, doing big cuts across, not just staying in a small passing lane.
I think it's just under 4 minutes remaining to the halftime break, and South Africa would like to just get into the huddle again and maybe just regroup and have a few words amongst themselves and say we were very much in this game. Let's not lose our composure now. And as we see these straight passes, just turning over possession to the Dutch.
Yeah, and I think what's happening, you know, the South African team, they're marking up and then they get beat, and there's no one picking up because they're all fully engaged elsewhere. And the Dutch are moving so quickly and interchanging in the space so fast.
Derek Halstead gets it up wide to the right-hand side, and South Africans working nicely down the touchline. And it's Craig Garrett who wins it. And they do find a bit of space in behind the Dutch defense, but just a foot getting in the way. Still pressing quite high, but the Dutch stretching it, and that's what South Africa wanting to do, create those little errors by the Dutch.
Yep, turnover, close to the 25 of the South African attacking team.
DeLange on the ball, he looks for the ball across all the way to the right-hand side. Worthington picks it up. And that's just the height advantage of the Dutch.
You're not kidding. When he went down, he stretched about 6 feet, 6 meters, 3 meters, I guess. Whatever 6 feet is.
we'll give it to you, Bob. It's okay. 6 meters, 3 meters, doesn't matter. Whether it's feet, whether it's meters, no worries, no worries.
I'll just stick to feet. Everybody else can figure it out.
Yeah. We're talking to international audience. It's fine, it's fine. We keep going. As the Dutch come again through over Venstra. Plays it neatly to his teammate Kreyhoff. Plenty of space down the right-hand side by the Dutch. And you can see he's absolutely incensed with himself. He thought he could have produced a better pass there. And no matter, as we say, no matter what the age, you know what you're capable of. You know your ability. And he'll be throwing those until he's 70. South Africa on the ball. Wilson. Out to Halstead. Keeper comes in. And there's a little bit of an error that could create that's South Africa just valiantly saving.
Valiantly is right. Oh my goodness. That was could have been one of those mistakes that the Dutch capitalize on.
That could have haunted Lane for a very long time. Garrett finds a bit of space down the touchline. Not intend to push it, but the umpires are just halting the game here. And it seems he's having a chat with the South Africans there, and that's a massive call on the stroke of half time. Seems like is that Clark that's been sent to the bin? Grant Clark?
I don't know, but that's very unusual to be carded well off the ball. I mean, 50 yards away, so you wonder what he was doing. There was some...
And that's a massive call there. That is Grant Clark, the experienced, the Olympian within the South African team. Spending 10 minutes in the bin now at the stroke of halftime. So a bit of drama that brings the first half to a close. The Dutch managing the lead. And South Africa now with their backs against the wall as they come out for the second half.
That waiting for the gun, the nerves are just too much, thinking about what is about to go down.
And there goes the horn to start the race.
No, I think it's really amazing. And now the whole setup and people are dressed up.
We're giving something, I think, to the people is just fantastic.
The support on the side of the road is second to none, and that gives you the extra oomph.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. The scenery is beyond what I could imagine. I seriously enjoyed it. I met so many wonderful people on the way.
Really enjoying Cape Town. People seem to really appreciate artwork here, which is really nice.
Come and visit Cape Town. We are waiting for you with open arms. We welcome you here. This will remain a city of hope and opportunity for everyone, not just in Cape Town, but around the country and the world.
And he takes the tape.
Cape Town is open, safe, and ready to host you.
At thehockeysite.com, it's about what happens in the locker room. Thinking about the game. It's about planning and preparation. And about training and improving those skills. Looking at it from different angles. But of course, it's also about teaching them to score and win. Thehockeysite.com. Share the knowledge.
Welcome back to Artley Vale here for this top of the table clash in the over 50s men between the South Africans and the Netherlands. The Dutch, they lead by 1-0. But the South Africans have been reduced to 10 men, and they've got it all to do here in the second period. I've got Bob from the USA alongside me, and what have you made of that first half, Bob?
First half was pretty exciting. I mean, it seems like it could have gone either way, although the Dutch seem to be gaining momentum, and also they seem to be showing a bit more creative play on attack. But, not counting the South Africans out at all, this game could quickly tie up and go from there. So, going to be another intense half.
I do think the South Africans, the chat would have been at the break, just to remain composed, keep the composure. Don't allow the Dutch to suck you in, because they have been a couple of indisciplined moments that have seen them go to the bin. And the South Africans know they need all their players on the park if they're going to compete with this Dutch side. Cross comes in, but it goes comfortably to safety. Looks like the South Africans have made a change in goal. They've brought in Andrew Bint, the veteran international goalkeeper who played 80 games for the Proteas. He's come on in the second half. Mark Lane, I thought, had a fantastic first period, just keeping it down to 1. And Bint's got to have to find his form very quickly. South Africa looking for the overhead, but it's picked up by the Dutch. Diego working hard for South Africa, but gives away the free hit. And wasn't thinking he could pull a fast one and take it quickly for South Africa, but it's the Dutch ball. Dutch is setting up, looking for the pass across the field to play. It's Versteeg on the ball now. Moves towards the byline, and Diego makes the tackle. Comes back to Hingst. In the center with Van Hexen. Local entry comes, and that's a save by the goalkeeper. Bunt. And it was a chance for the Dutch, but Bunt, the oldest member of the South African team at 57, 80 cap veteran, he comes on and makes the save, and he's going to be called on again. Does the age and experience count in these factors, Bob?
I think so. If you've played 80 caps, and I don't care if you're 57, or 67, it makes a difference. He knows how to position his timing. He's probably impeccable. So this is exciting to watch him, especially on top of the other Mark Lane, who is also fabulous.
That short corner they set up with Meerkens possibly lining up a shot. And it is Meerkens, and it's a fantastic save by Bunt. That is why he's played 80 times for his country.
That was a fantastic shot. To his stick side, high, and he stopped it, pushed it out.
What a start to this second period as the South Africans find themselves deep in their own half and not able to exit the 23. They do now. The touchline does win. Just seems the Dutch are squeezing a little bit tighter here, putting South Africa in difficult positions. Small little push from the captain, Dutch captain Anton Maas, and the possession's turned over. The tense period in the game right now. If another goal by the Dutch could just give them a little bit more breathing space. Equally, South Africans, they'll be looking for the equalizer to just turn it back onto the Dutch.
Yep. And once again, the entire South African team is down below the 25. So they're making sure there's no room to breathe for the Dutch, who somehow managed to find the spaces. Now it looks like the Dutch are going for the corner.
Just onto the foot of Nick Wides there. And it looks like punt's going to be called on into action again. He made a fantastic save from the earlier short corner. It was a clean strike by Meerkens. But they've looked like the Dutch have changed it around now. They've got Andries van Steeg. He's looking to take the shot now. Comes out, goes back, shot comes in. Lane, once again, it's the save by Bunt. But the Dutch, this well-oiled machine is starting to rev. They are starting to rev, and they are asking questions of South Africa. Good tackle by Versteeg. He's still in possession as the Dutch move it towards the right. Comes back, and I think the South Africans will take this 16 just fairly slowly, just to gather themselves. Well, I could be mistaken. Looks like he's wanting to rush it.
I know. Looks like he was ready to take off. Oh, Pat backs. That was an interesting pass deep, given the aggressiveness of the Dutch, but got away with it.
Maybe they should be just settling themselves, Bob. It's just a bit helter-skelter from the South Africans.
Yeah, it is, because the South Africans are all playing defense, and yet the Dutch still have 3 players up, one back at the 50, ready for any breakaway by the South Africans. And I'll tell you, it's going to be tough to have an attacking breakaway when you're so deep. One gets the ball, there's nobody to hit up to. You've got to carry it out and rely on small game passing to get penetrating down the attack.
Once again, it gets pushed across, and I don't think South Africa have been in the half of the Dutch in this third chukka as yet.
No, they haven't. It was much more even in the first half, so we'll see. We'll see if they can change the momentum back.
Garrett, he is the talisman for South Africa up front. He'll keep on running. Okay, Garrett's sporting a splendid beard, does he? Sure, my barista at my local coffee shop, the hipster that he is, has a similar one.
Ah, that is too bad. Ref blew the whistle, should have been held because it was just about to go to a breakout pass for the South Africans.
Watts finds a bit of space in the center for South Africa. And
South Africa tried to pull it in, but it was outside the circle, so they don't get the corner they were hoping for.
South Africa were thinking they could squeeze a short corner out of that one.
I think so.
Instead, they'll have the free hit. I think this is a big opportunity for South Africa. They haven't been in the Dutch half
I think it is.
And they will look to make this count.
The Dutch are throwing back another player, pick up the free South African. Now they're overloaded.
Comes out to Wides on the right-hand side. Gets it back. Ball played in. Good work by Diego. Not able to. And the chance goes a begging. But that is more positive from South Africa. It's more promising. They've been stuck in their own half, but they have managed to find an exit here and shown that they are very much part of this game still. The Dutch in possession on the right-hand side. They go all the way back. Groenteman. And back again to Grunewald, who finds a bit of space on the right-hand side. That's good skill work, beats the first defender. But the South African defense just managed to create a little bit of a foul. And better period for South Africa, yeah. Settling a little bit. Don't you think, Bob?
Yes, they are. And it looks like they're substituting out players to keep them fresh. 2 just came out, 2 going in. Because this is, you can see the players are not running as fast as they were in that first quarter when it was just sprint after sprint. Now there's a little more trotting back to get in position, but still trying to get back.
Just a bit of confusion there in the South African penalty area. And there's a collision of heads and sticks and pads and gloves and everything else.
I know, bodies. I mean, it was a big pileup.
Fortunately, no medics required. And everybody's back on their feet. And we can get going again.
Yeah, but the umpire talking to 2 South African players.
I thought the South African player took out his own goalkeeper, actually, and not the Dutch opposition. So, umpire still having a chat.
This is the point where things could start to get a little bit more physical. Players are tired, they're intense. Certainly the South Africans really want to get that goal, at least tie the game up.
That's strong defense by Wides. Goes out towards the right-hand side and looked like an opportunity for the Dutch.
Yeah, it did. And that's where I think you're starting to see a little fatigue, get in. That player earlier, got the ball, but now just a little bit out of his reach. So I think you're starting to just see a little more misses, and that's where each team could have the opportunity to capitalize and suddenly change the nature of the game.
They do say when the leg goes, the mind also goes. And,
in that order.
Not necessarily in that order. Fantastic little chip by Bob as the South Africans find a bit of space in the middle. They play it all the way to the right to Wides. He throws a loose pass, though, and it's intercepted by the Dutch.
That's the thing that's starting to happen. Little sloppy interceptions they weren't making earlier.
I think that's what the Dutch do. They just exert so much pressure. They force you into those difficult spaces and doing the extra yards. And this is when they really penetrate in this last third of the game.
Yep, and look what they're doing now. They're passing back and forth, being patient, waiting, watching, just hoping for a little fatigue, misstep, and then take the moment and pounce.
They do also know that they are the team in the ascendancy. They've got the goal. So it's South Africa that have to come to them. We weren't seeing this in the first half, Bob.
No, we weren't. It was a bit of a bouncy pass, granted, but earlier that would not have been missed. But not surprising when you've got a game as intense as this. Oof, that was a little risky. A little deflection off the South African D that could have deflected badly. The goalie was another direction. Suddenly went, oh my God, I've got to get over there to close that space, given that deflection. But just went off the end. So they'll live to fight another day here.
South Africa who will have the opportunity to clear their lines and just take a bit of a breather. Yeah, and as you see, another error by the South Africans, just gifting the ball back to the Dutch. And it's Versteeg who sends it to the middle. Back to Groenteman. Inside to Vierstrau, sends it out wide to the right. And it cuts into the circle entry, and South Africa fortunate not to give the short corner away as the Dutch restart from the halfway line. And this is where South Africa should be pressing, but the legs are just not playing along at this stage. This is what you're wanting to step up on the Dutch and force them into errors.
Well, except the South Africans may want to drop back a bit on the press, given that was a close one. Just went wide of the cage.
I think that's 80 caps worth of experience there to leave that one out, Bun.
Well, exactly. Doesn't matter. He's 57. He's seen it a million times before, and he just knows when to move, what the angle is, how far out.
I think that's more heat and hope, just looking for charity rather than trying to find a teammate. As this is when you'd like to see South Africa utilize the high press. You just keep the Netherlands pinned in their half. Just forcing them into playing an overhead or looking for the long ball, which can be picked up. And that's exactly what happens.
Yes.
Is the South Africans on top of the D through Harvey's.
Oh, my goodness.
The shot comes in. And the tomahawk goes wide. And the South Africans thought they could have snuck into that bottom corner. But that is exactly what we're saying, Bob. South Africa have to step up. They have to induce their own pressure.
Yes, they do. They do. And that was a great shot. He went around the corner and did a backhanded shot, but it just went wide.
Dutch come again through for Steeg. He's moving quite fast down his right hand side. And he's still in a battle with Wides, but Wides is won it on this occasion. But it's in the center of the field now with Paul Mess, who smashes it into the circle. And I shudder to think, had he got a deflection on that.
That would have been a real test of that goalkeeper, Andrew Bent. Oh, my goodness. That would have been a spectacular shot.
Duo Veenstra, who just missed it. And but it's picked up in the center of the field here by South Africa. Graydon Morris down the right. And that's a strong run there by Matthew Hallowes. Ball comes to South Africa have possession. Hallowes has a tremendous strike on him. I saw in the opening game against Namibia. It was the top of the D and it was bouncing around and he smoked it into the right corner. So he's just looking for that opportunity on the edge of the circle. Really strong runner. Possibly not the pace of yesteryear, but still the strength. And that is the end of the third. Chaka once again flown by. And the Netherlands leading by 1-0. Welcome back to the final Chaka here for South Africa and the Netherlands. It's the hosts who trail by 1-0, and they are chasing the game trying to make a circle entry immediately. Worthington lunges for the tackle. And the Dutch in possession. Bob, it's the final chukker and South Africa trailing. How do you see this going for the hosts?
Well, I think it's they have a potential to come back and score. They just shown it late in the last third quarter, and mistakes are starting to happen on both sides. A little bit more right now on the South Africans, but they know they have to dig deep, and I think they're capable. They can do it, and there's could be a few surprises here. So we're going to stay tuned. I think this is going to be a very exciting final quarter.
Definitely is. It's a virtual semi-final, and we do know that's when the big players step up in the big moments. And I see South Africa do have Craig Garrett on the field again. He's been a potent goal scorer for them throughout this tournament thus far. And if they are going to find a goal, could just come off the stick of Garrett. But the Dutch, as we know, they are a class outfit. They are not going to relent. They'll pass the ball around as with precision as we see there. And it's played forward by Alexander Kett.
Yep.
Anton Masson forcing the short corner he's got a hit against the face for his troubles. But he won't be worried as the captain, Anton Mess, with 17 goals in the tournament already. He's just created another short corner opportunity for the Dutch. Bunt just having a word with his defenders, saying, get out there, get that first wave, you have to get there, because once these Dutchmen, when they get the shot in, it is a fearsome chance. Push comes out, taken out, and pushed to the opposite side. There's Amelia, and the goalkeeper is beaten. Bunt is beaten, and that could be the killer blow for the Dutch. You can see how excited they are. They know what it means to them. And South Africa now have a mountain to climb as high as Table Mountain.
Zahid, that was brilliant. The Dutch waited, got it in. They had two players, one on either side of the goalkeeper. Had a little pass to the left where the goalkeeper was trying to defend that ball. Didn't have a chance.
South Africa now 2 goals down. And the Dutch really in command now. But it seems that the South Africans...
Green card.
It's a green card to a Dutch player. Could this be the opportunity South Africans have been looking for? The Dutch down to 10 men for 2 minutes. They're not going to do it like that by gifting away possession. They need to remain calm and composed, because just stick to your processes and not try and rush it now that the Dutch have lost the man. Here's an opportunity for South Africa.
Could prove costly.
South Africa looking for the circle entry. They'll get another opportunity with a free hit on the top of the D. It's Clark who works his way, and that's the short corner for South Africa. That's the pressure we've been talking about. And is it a case of now or never for the Proteas?
Well, this would be helpful. If they could get this corner in, and you know they're talking about it, they're going to put up their best corner, the best corner hitter. Inserter's going to be very careful to get that out straight. No bumps. Could be interesting.
Peter Cohen, he's got the responsibility of getting it out cleanly. The Africans are lined up. Push comes in, the shot comes in. And it's a peace stroke for South Africa. The Dutch aren't too impressed by the umpire. And there's a timeout called. The Dutch feel that's come off the stick. The umpires are converging, but the South Africans and the crowd especially are awaiting the P flick. What a game we have had here, Bob.
You're not kidding. I guess the controversy, it looks like the post player stopped the ball. So the umpire sticking to his call that it hit his feet, not his stick. Because that was a sure goal, but except for the post player there.
And this is the moment of the game for South Africa. who's got the responsibility of sticking it away?
Always the most pressure on this single player on the stroke.
Greg Knott, he'll step up for South Africa. Is the weight of this nation on his shoulders. And what a save by the Dutch keeper. Not, unfortunately, missing the chance for South Africa. And is that their chances in the tournament that has also been dropped. Great save by the Dutch goalkeeper, Erik Scheibring.
That's morale hurting for sure. On a stroke, you always think is almost a sure thing. That's tough. They're back still at down 2-0.
There was, if you could hear the silence that has enveloped Hartleyvale after that, the local crowd, they were ready to celebrate the goal. Unfortunately, not able to put it away. But South Africa, they'll keep on fighting. They'll keep on coming.
Yeah, but that has to be a little dispiriting. You know, down 2-1, the 12 minutes to go. That would rev them up. Now let's see. Let's hopefully get their morale back.
There's a famous anecdote in South African sport, the Cricket World Cup in 1999, and Herschel Gibbs, he dropped the Australian captain, Steve Waugh, and the line went, mate, you just dropped the World Cup. And I think, hopefully for Knott, he doesn't live with a similar line going forward.
Yes. Oh, my gosh. Well, most of the time, team's very supportive because, you know, anybody else could take it and they could miss it. Everybody knows how heartbreaking that is.
Africa come once again through Peter Cohen. In the middle. Back to Cohen. It's deflected. And it's picked up by Veenstra. And he beats his second man.
Now it's a 2-on-1. 2-on-1.
Goalkeeper's beaten.
Down.
And somehow it's kept out by South Africa. A look for all money like the third goal. It was a 2-on-1 situation. But
and the goalie went down. Player still had the ball. Just had to go around him. Looks like he shot and missed the cage.
That would have been the killer blow there for the Netherlands. I don't think South Africa would have been able to come back from 3-0. But they are still in the contest. There's just over 10.5 minutes remaining.
Now South Africa forced that pass. The opening wasn't really there, but they really want to get the ball down.
It's the Dutch are needing to defend now. South Africa look to launch an attack.
Okay, South Africans get it here. This is another chance. Goes out wide. Oh, this is fatigue. Fatigue deflects it off the sideline. Back in the hands of the Dutch.
That's what happens when you are trying to force the opportunity and not sticking to your process and not staying with the plans, and that scoreboard pressure when you're looking up at the clock and knowing that you're 2 goals down and trying to force that passes in the hope of getting that at least one back.
Yeah, Zahid, I think you're right. And that's for the Dutch. They stick to their game plan. They stick to their processes they know so well. And even though you could also see they're a bit tired, they're sticking to their plan.
That's a wild ball that's gone across field. That's the Dutch who look to attack again. Played into the middle of the park.
Injury timeout. Ball right into the hand of the South African player, who's momentarily discomfited, but now okay, looks like.
Anybody who's told me that hockey's not a physical sport, I beg to differ.
Oh, you're not kidding. I've seen some serious injuries.
That's a good ball by South Africa. Picked up cleanly, though.
Yeah, it was picked up cleanly, just deflected a little bit off his stick so the Dutch defender could pick it right up. But now South Africa got it back.
Getting to that time where they needing to get one, not needing to be a little bit more accurate with their passing. Murphy is a little bit slippery as he turning over the position. It's a ball mess on the ball. But at least a Dova Vienstra. Back to yes, who lets it go and knows that that just takes eats a little bit away onto the time. Just chunks of a few seconds going away.
Yeah, with 7.5 minutes left.
I think the South Africans need their crowd behind them now. They need some inspiration to get back into this contest because slipping away.
It is a little quiet right now. People watching, waiting, see what's going to happen next.
That's coming again. A neat little slip. Picked up by South Africa. That's Greg Clark, the international. He goes on a run and finds some space and could possibly have gone a little bit further by himself, but he gets it back and now will have a second chance. Finds Worthington on the right, but it's cleaned up by Wassenberg. South Africa have the hit. I think still just the effects of that missed P-flick still being felt around the ground, but the voices are picking up around the stadium again as South Africa go closer. South Africa making a big call here. They're pulling their goalkeeper, Andrew Bunt, out of the game with all of 6 minutes remaining. That's a big call and getting on the extra infield player. Bob, what do you make of that?
Well, it's clearly a high-risk play, and they're betting that their defense is solid enough to really, for the quick turnaround attack on the Dutch. Dutch are quite capable of coming down, and Andrew Bin has had a lot of action recently, so this is a very high-risk call. But I guess they figure with less than 6 to go, they'd better take the chance to just go for it because they feel they've lost it already.
So desperate call by South Africa. Worthington comes off as well, and Wide's back onto the pitch. And
I think we have an injury here.
We do have an injury here, so the clock stops, though. And that's at 5:42. That's what's remaining. And South Africa's, would they say, South Africa's World Cup hopes rest on this for the final 5 minutes. As you can see, they gather there, and they're having some stern words amongst each other. They know what's at stake. They want to be Sunday in the big one. They want to be in that playoff game, 1 versus 1. A big crowd expected for the playoffs. And the hosts for their World Cup hopes resting, and some more changes coming on. Grant Morris just finding his way onto the field, and surprising move there with Greg Clark. You think Grant Clark, at least, you'd think South Africa would want him on the park in this remaining 5 minutes, but they've made the change. And now with, remember, no goalkeeper. So it's the eggs are firmly in one basket here for South
this
Africa.
makes it even more exciting because you know the Dutch, they're probably at some point going to do a big lift, have a couple guys running under it. Yep, and here's they tried it already.
Your words weren't even cold yet, Bob.
Big pass.
It. This is going to be interesting now because you don't get the pass directly to a teammate. Could be under pressure, but that Africa willing to risk that in At least never let it be said that South African team's not brave.
Oh, they're brave, all right. And they're still very much in it, but yeah, there's the big pass they're looking for, picked up, and here goes. Unless he goes wide, he didn't quite get control. Ah, that is amazing. South Africa picks it up. Looked like a sure goal with an empty cage sitting there.
That's Christina Riego. He's tracked back and possibly saved his team from a goal there. Comes out to Bruggeman, Albert Bruggeman, who doesn't pick it up cleanly. And Garrett fetching the ball for South Africa. Africa looking to go down the right-hand side. Comes back to wide. Plays it to the center. That's Chris passing me by the South Africans. But it seems to be lost in the middle of the park. Greg Anderson just walking a little bit heavily there in the midfield. Put in a good shift today, and the legs seem to be just giving up here in this final 4 minutes.
Yeah, and this is where I think fresh legs are probably more important than the seasoned veterans. So the coach is hopefully rotating people in more quickly right now, particularly on the South African defense.
South Africans pushing up. Holloway's on the ball. He sends it out wide to Worthington. And it's South Africa continue to battle away, and the ball comes in. There's a deflection! And it goes wide for the South Africans. There was a moment of hope there. Bob?
It was a great cut from the end line. All you had to do, he got a stick on it, and oftentimes that deflection goes right in the corner. And that would have been impossible for the goalkeeper to stop.
A goal now would lift the stadium most definitely, as South Africa try and find 2 goals within the last 3 minutes. They were definitely worthy of 1. They thought they had 1, but the Dutch denied them even from the penalty stroke. It came at a critical time. And they're now forced to chase the game without a goalkeeper.
Yeah, well, so far it's been a few minutes without a goalkeeper, and they haven't scored yet. So South Africa's keeping good control here.
The GPS not in action for that
No.
overhead.
No, that was not only off the field, but over the fence.
Landing in the neighbor's garden, as they would say. They are in control here. They have possession.
There's that big long pass to the Dutch. Coming in, nice. Wow. That was very good D on the South African part, because that looked like classic Dutch play. Moving it down, 3 little passes, but defender broke it up the play.
Well, I know South Africa are trailing by 2 goals, but I've been really impressed by their structural play and just their passing all around, and really gave the Dutch a real run for their money in this contest. They might possibly go down still, but they can take plenty of heart from the performance.
I think they can.
And they haven't given up yet.
No, they haven't. They are really dominating on this end. This is quite extraordinary without a goalkeeper. Seems to have been a smart move by the coach to throw in that extra player, because they are getting on attack, they're getting in the circle, and they're having their chances.
Bob, are we set up for a grandstand finish here? Is this the short corner that South Africa have been waiting for?
Could be. The crowd will go wild.
And then they'll have to come back all the way for another 100 meters for the second. But let's watch the first one. It's the push will come from Peter Cohen. Wides to stop. Comes out. Not stopped cleanly, but comes back. There's the opportunity for wides. And it's in! That's the first goal. That is the goal from Matthew Allowes. I said he's got a strike on him, but he's also got a bit of a flick. And South Africa have finally bulged the net But is it too late? There's only 18 seconds left.
What a shame, but that was a beautiful pass. Instead of trying to shoot himself, his teammate passed it to him 3 feet, and he'd had a gorgeous high flick into the corner of the cage.
That's just throwing it deep into the South African half. They know that's the clock, and that is the hooter. It is a valiant South African side that go down 2-1 here to the Dutch. A missed P flick that proving costly in the end, but the Dutch hang on for 2-1. Bob, your final thoughts?
Well, it was a heck of a game. We knew it would be close, and we thought at the beginning that the Netherlands would have a slight edge when you looked at the matchup with the teams they'd each played earlier. The Dutch seemed to score just a little bit more, and indeed that is what happened today. But
I think the Dutch's experience and the composure just being the winner here eventually, and South Africa will go home and think about that P flick for the rest of the night. But it's us who will see you in a bit.
We are fascinated by the mindsets and the habits that make individuals and teams perform at another level. Let us be your thought partners and transformational coaches. Are you part of a team and you are wanting to gain insight into what ingredients need to be in the mix to take your team to a whole new level of performance? Partner with us. We want to be your transformational coaches.